Welcome back to the Darwin Awards. The only contest where stupidity isn't just painful, it's permanent. Tonight's contestants include folks who thought trains make great headphones, microwaves are fine with metal, and grenades double as fishing gear. Spoiler, evolution disagreed. So buckle up, it's survival of the smartest, and these people definitely didn't qualify. Number 1. Booby trap, home defense. Here's the thing about booby traps. They're designed to stop other people, not yourself. But apparently, this retiree from Maine missed the memo. He thought, what if burglars try to break into my home? I'll rig a shotgun to the front door so when anyone opens it, boom, instant justice. The plan worked flawlessly. On himself. One night, he opened his own door and the trap did exactly what it was designed to do. The police called it a tragic accident. I call it a man so committed to his own paranoia that he decided to make himself public enemy number 1. Honestly, if you build your house like the set of Home Alone, don't be shocked when you become the burglar. Number 2. Exploding lava lamp. Ah yes, the early 2000s. Back when lava lamps were still considered groovy instead of retro junk you buy at Walmart for $9.99. A man in Washington wanted to heat his lava lamp faster. Instead of just plugging it in and waiting, like literally every other human since the invention of patience, he put it on the stove. Because what could possibly go wrong when you place a pressurized glass container full of wax and liquid on open flame? Spoiler, it went very wrong. The lamp exploded, sending shards of glass across the room, one of which struck him in the chest. Death by lava lamp. Imagine being remembered not as a loving father or a kind neighbor, but as the guy who lost a fight with a $10 psychedelic light show. Number 3. Treasure hunt, hypothermia, remember when that millionaire hid a treasure chest somewhere in the Rocky Mountains and started the Great American Treasure Hunt? Well, one contestant apparently thought winter weather was just an optional side quest. He went trekking into a canyon, ignored the warnings about snow and freezing temps, and, shockingly, didn't come back. Authorities later confirmed the cause: hypothermia. You'd think the number 1 rule of treasure hunting is don't freeze to death before you even find the gold. But hey, if he had survived, he could have written a bestseller called Frozen Fortune: How I Lost to Nature While Chasing a Fairy Tale. Darwin's lesson here? Sometimes the treasure isn't gold, it's common sense, and not everyone finds it. Number 4. Poacher's Bad Day. This one could be a Disney movie if Disney made horror films. A group of poachers snuck into Kruger National Park looking for rhinos. Nature, however, had other plans. An elephant spotted one of the poachers and said, "Not in my house." The elephant trampled the man, ending his safari instantly. But it gets better. By the time park rangers found the scene, lions had already eaten most of the remains. Talk about poetic justice. This guy went looking to kill endangered animals and instead became an endangered snack himself. Somewhere in the animal kingdom, the elephant and the lions are still high-fiving over that team kill. If there was ever a perfect Darwin Award nominee, this is it. Number 5. Snake House Hoarder. We have the man who turned his suburban home into a reptile convention. Over 100 snakes. Yes, you heard that right. Not 1, not 10, but over 100 snakes slithering through his house. Some of them venomous. Why? Because apparently he thought living inside a live-action version of was a great lifestyle choice. Neighbors only found out something was wrong when he stopped coming outside. Authorities entered the house and discovered him dead among his beloved reptiles. The cause: snake bite. Who could have seen that coming? Oh, I don't know. Literally everyone except him. Owning one pet snake is quirky. Owning 100 is basically saying, I'm tired of being at the top of the food chain. Let's speed run evolution backwards. Number 6. COVID party. Catastrophe. Mobile, Alabama. Sometimes you read a headline and wonder if it came straight from a parody site. A 29-year-old woman in Alabama decided she'd had enough of medical science and wanted to prove immunity the old-fashioned way by hosting a party to deliberately catch COVID. Yes, you heard that right. She sent out invites like it was a Tupperware party. Except instead of cookware, the main attraction was a virus. She figured that if she got sick on purpose, she could prove her natural strength. Spoiler alert, her body disagreed. She ended up with severe complications and never recovered. Moral of the story? If you're going to party, maybe stick with potato salad instead of pandemics. Number 7. Drone jump debacle. Ubud, Bali, paradise for tourists, and Darwin Award contenders. A 31-year-old man had the brilliant idea to tie himself to a drone with a bedsheet parachute. That's right, he apparently thought Amazon delivery drones now offered personal skydiving service. He wanted a viral video, but what he got was a viral obituary. The drone lifted him a few feet, wobbled, and then dropped him 15 meters straight onto the rocks. At least the footage was probably very dramatic, although not quite in the way he intended. Sometimes the like and subscribe is just not worth the physics lesson. Number 8. Garage Fire Challenge, Austin, Texas. You'd think after years of warning labels and failed TikTok challenges, people would get the hint. But no, a 27-year-old blogger decided to take fiery content a little too literally. She lit herself on fire in her garage, surrounded by, you guessed it, a gas can. Because when you're setting yourself ablaze, what's the one thing you absolutely need nearby? A giant container of fuel! Unsurprisingly, the garage went up like a fireworks finale, and her final post ended up being more burn notice than viral hit. Internet fame has its price, and sometimes it's your eyebrows, your garage, and, well, everything else. Number 9. Wife toss tragedy. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Now here's a marriage story that probably didn't make it into the wedding vows. During an argument, a 25-year-old man threw his wife off their 8th floor balcony. You'd think that was the tragedy, but oh no, plot twist. She survived by landing on a lower balcony. He, realizing his mistake, dove after her in a misguided attempt to play superhero. Except instead of landing safely, he proved gravity always wins. She lived. He didn't. If there's an afterlife, imagine explaining that to St. Peter. I tried to throw my wife out, then went after her to save her, and well, here I am. Talk about poetic justice with a side of slapstick. Number 10. Road rage lane. Poland. Road rage is universal. 2 drivers in Poland decided to stop traffic to settle their differences with a good old-fashioned fist fight. Because when you're on a busy highway, nothing says smart decision like stepping into oncoming traffic. The pair scuffled, traded a few punches, and then reality, in the form of speeding cars, joined the fight. Let's just say the vehicles had the final word. It was less fast and furious and more slow and final. Darwin would have been proud. They took survival of the fittest and tested it in the worst possible lab. A freeway? Number 11. Drone bombed. Boomerang, Iraq. There is a reason the phrase, "don't play with explosives," has survived for centuries. In Iraq, a fighter decided to get creative with a DIY explosive drone. He armed it, sent it soaring, and then, surprise, It came right back like the deadliest boomerang in history. Instead of detonating over the enemy, the device chose its creator as the target. The result? Instant game over. It's the kind of own goal you don't get a second chance to complain about. If nothing else, it's proof that sometimes the universe does, in fact, install its own autocorrect feature. Number 12. Historic whalebone procedure, USA 1816. Not all Darwin Award candidates come from TikTok and GoPro culture. Some are straight out of history books. In 1816, a U.S. statesman had a minor urinary issue. Instead of seeking medical care, which, to be fair, wasn't all that advanced at the time, he decided to handle it himself. His tool of choice? A whalebone, carved into an improvised surgical instrument. Because apparently, nothing screams sterile medical device like something yanked from the skeleton of a sea mammal. Shockingly, the procedure didn't go well. Infection set in, spread through his system, and that was the end of his political career. And everything else. Lesson learned. DIY surgery sounds brave, but really it's just a creative way of buying a one-way ticket to the Darwin Awards. Number 13. Geocache culvert, Czechia. Geocaching is supposed to be a fun, harmless hobby, kind of like hide and seek for adults with GPS. But one enthusiast in the Czech Republic took things to another level. He crawled deep into a drainage tunnel to retrieve a cache just as storm clouds were forming. If you've ever looked at a culvert and thought, gee, that looks like the world's most uncomfortable water park ride, congratulations. You now know what happened next. The storm hit, the runoff surged, and the tunnel turned into a high-speed chute of doom. The poor man was flushed out like yesterday's garbage. Authorities later noted he was swept away instantly. Moral of the story, treasure hunting is fun, but check the weather before you decide to reenact Finding Nemo. Number 14. Powerline cone. Dodger, New Jersey. New Jersey, land of diners, jug handles, and apparently people who think orange cones are just decorations. A driver encountered a stretch of road that utility workers had barricaded after power lines came crashing down. Most sane people would look at live wires and think, yeah, let's not risk spontaneous electrocution today. Not our Darwin nominee. He swerved around the cones, ignored every sign, and drove straight into the tangle of sparking cables. The car instantly became a metal coffin. Eyewitnesses described it as a bright flash, then silence. This wasn't just failure to follow instructions. It was failure to recognize that electricity doesn't care about your schedule. Somewhere, Ben Franklin sighed in disappointment. Number 15. Grenade sawing. Germany, World War II left behind plenty of dangerous relics. And everyone knows the golden rule. If you find an old grenade, you call the authorities. But one German man in 2018 decided he'd rather play Mythbusters in his workshop. He clamped a rusting grenade into a vise, grabbed a saw, and started cutting it open just to see what the inside looked like. Here's the thing about grenades. They're designed to go boom when disturbed. And disturb it, he did. The explosion obliterated his workshop and everything in it, including him. Neighbors said the sound shook the street. His curiosity may have killed him, but at least he got an answer to his question. It just happened to be the last one he ever asked. Number 16. Ski lift sledding, Italy. Picture this, the Italian Alps, a resort town buzzing with après ski cocktails and overpriced hot chocolate. Enter a 46-year-old man who looked at the safety mat covering the base of a ski lift and thought, that's not equipment, that's my personal toboggan. He stole it, climbed up, and used it as a sled. Great idea, if you've never seen how ski resorts actually work. He rocketed downhill, unable to steer, and slammed straight into the very barrier that the mat was originally installed to protect. That's irony you could frame in a museum. He turned safety equipment into a weapon against himself, proving once again that alcohol, snow, and hubris make a lethal cocktail. Number 17. Brake failure, hero fail, Idaho. This one's tragic, but in a grim Darwin sort of way. A group of friends was cruising down a slope in a van when the brakes gave out. Everyone panicked. Our candidate decided he'd play action hero. He jumped out, presumably imagining himself as Bruce Willis in Die Hard, ready to stop the runaway van. Except, physics disagreed. He landed poorly, suffered fatal injuries, and died on the spot. Meanwhile, his friends, they rode it out. The van rolled to a stop, no one hurt. The brakes may have failed, but the design of gravity didn't. Turns out the only person in danger was the guy who jumped out to save everyone else. A noble intention, sure, but the Darwin Awards don't hand out medals for effort. Number 18. Homemade rocket test. Some people spend their weekends grilling. Others take up woodworking. Then there are the folks who think I should strap myself to a rocket I built in my garage and hit the ignition. Enter our next contestant. He cobbled together a DIY steam and propellant rocket, rolled out the cameras, and prepared for glory. Spoiler, NASA wasn't taking notes. The rocket fired, but instead of launching him to fame, it turned into a fiery metal coffin. The contraption crashed, leaving behind the kind of footage that makes YouTube moderators say, "Nope, that's not monetizable." The lesson here? Rocket science is called science for a reason. There are equations, testing protocols, entire teams of engineers. Not just duct tape, pipe fittings, and optimism. Number 19. Grenade fishing. Fishing is supposed to be relaxing. A rod, a line, some bait, maybe a beer. But our Darwin nominee figured why bother with all that when you can just lob a grenade into the lake? Instant fish stew. Except fish weren't the only ones in the blast radius. The man threw the grenade from his boat. You know, the floating piece of wood directly next to the detonation point. The shockwave did what shockwaves do, flipping the boat, stunning him, and ensuring that he never got to taste his ill-gotten catch. The fish probably swam off thinking, wow, humans really are the dumbest apex predators. Pro tip, if your fishing gear comes with a pin, you're not angling, you're auditioning for the Darwin Awards. Number 20. Stab-proof jacket test. This one reads like a scene from a bad infomercial. A man had just acquired a stab-proof jacket. But how do you know it works unless you test it, right? He could have gone with a safe option. Poke it with a kitchen knife, maybe apply some pressure against a wall. But no, he zipped it up, stood tall, and decided the best test subject was himself. He stabbed his torso directly to prove its strength. The jacket, shockingly, was not quite as stab-proof as advertised. The knife went in, the wounds were fatal, and the demonstration ended permanently. The fine print should have read, "Warning, product not effective against stupidity." Number 21. Railway ear test. Romania curiosity killed the cat, and in this case, also the man. A Romanian genius decided he wanted to know exactly how close a train was before he saw it. Now, normal people might listen from a distance, maybe glance at the station schedule or, wild idea, just look down the tracks. But no, he laid his head on the rail itself, pressing his ear directly to the track to hear better. Spoiler alert, when the vibrations get loud enough, that's not a helpful early warning. That's the train arriving. By the time he realized this, his body and physics had a violent disagreement. He wanted to hear a train. He heard it all right for exactly half a second before becoming one with the timetable. Number 22. Plastic bag crush. Australia. Australia is already trying to kill you with snakes, spiders, and jellyfish, so humans don't need to make things worse. Yet here we are. A woman stopped her car on a slope to check her shopping bags without putting on the handbrake. Rookie mistake? Try fatal mistake. She hopped out, adjusted her bags, and her car decided to play Revenge of the Groceries. It rolled forward, pinned her, and crushed her under her own vehicle. Imagine surviving kangaroos kicking you, venomous snakes lurking under your toilet seat, only to be taken out by Aldi bags and poor parking skills. Somewhere, the car was thinking, I told you to set the brake, mate. Number 23. Detonator mouth plug, Vietnam. This one reads like a rejected sketch from Jackass. A 21-year-old wanted to prove to his friends that an electric detonator wasn't dangerous. Now, detonators are literally built to set off explosives. They are the opposite of safe. But this guy figured the best way to demonstrate harmlessness was to stick the detonator in his mouth. Yes, in his mouth. And then plug its wires directly into a socket. Physics, electricity, and common sense all face-palmed in unison. The resulting blast erased his dental records and the rest of him along with them. His friends probably learned a valuable lesson. If someone says, "Hold my beer, watch this," the next sound is usually an obituary. Number 24. Herbal sauna. Suffocation. Bangkok, Thailand. Wellness trends can be dangerous. We've all seen overpriced detox treatments, celery juice cleanses, Himalayan salt lamps, goat yoga. But one group in Bangkok decided to crank things up with a homemade herbal sauna. An elderly monk and 3 of his followers locked themselves inside to sweat out toxins. Unfortunately, oxygen is kind of important for the whole staying alive thing. They sealed the room so well that they suffocated together, essentially marinating like dumplings in their own steam bath. Somewhere, the inventor of the electric fan shook his head and whispered, "You didn't have to die this way." Moral of the story: if your spa treatment requires duct tape and prayer, maybe skip it. Number 25. Microwave metal. Mishap microwave ovens have one big rule: no metal. Everyone knows this. It's written on the sticker, printed in the manual, and burned into every 3rd grade science lesson. But one man in 2024 decided rules are for suckers. He thought, what's the worst that could happen if I microwave a bunch of metal objects? Spoiler, the worst happened. Sparks turned into arcs, arcs into a fireball. And soon his kitchen looked like a Michael Bay outtake. Except, unlike in the movies, he didn't walk away. In slow motion, the explosion killed him instantly, proving that even in the future, microwaves remain undefeated against stupidity. The saddest part? He probably just wanted a hot pocket. And that's it. Another round of people proving that natural selection still works over time. If you enjoyed watching these walking cautionary tales, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next batch of Darwin Award nominees. Got a favorite story from today? Or maybe you've heard of an even crazier one? Drop it in the comments. I love seeing what bizarre disasters you dig up. Until next time, stay smart. Or at least smarter than these folks.